Hello. I think we're live. Testicles 1, 2, 3. I think we are. Side chat. Can you hear me? Can you see me? And more importantly, can you hear Catz?
I don't know. Have I muted myself?
No, you're not muted. I'm just a little bit concerned about the volume. So you can hear us. We've got a yup from Gary IOW. Thank goodness for that. Thank goodness for that. So I'll let Catz explain what we're going to be doing this evening, because it's a nice idea, and it was his idea. I cannot take credit for it at all.
Look at that. Well, yeah, only if it is a nice idea, it might backfire. Yeah, we had a late sort of change of plan to the debate that we were supposed to have tonight. That's going to have to be postponed to another time. So what we've done is we've drafted a PowerPoint of, it's supposed to be the top 10 plausible conspiracy theories, but I did 8. So it's really the top 8 plausible conspiracy theories. We're going to bring them up on the screen. We're going to chat about them. And I am by no means claiming that I'm an expert on any of these. Some of them I barely know nothing about. So we're going to be reaching out to you guys, and we're going to be asking you when we talk about it, what can you tell us in the chat? Can you debunk them live in the chat? Can you add weight to them in the chat? And if one of you feels like you know quite a lot about it and you're a regular and we know you, we can trust you, we'll get you on. You can speak to us about it for 5 or 10 minutes. We'll get you off, and then we'll move to the next conspiracy. So that's the plan, Superman.
By the way, when Catz very kindly says we have drafted a PowerPoint of 8 conspiracies, he means he. Because because I did say this morning I will put my thinking cap on and send over my suggestions. And how many did I send, Catz?
You sent all the best ones, actually. Once you see my 8, you'll realise that whatever yours were better than the ones I did.
Yeah, so if anybody does want to get involved, just make yourself known in the side chat. But first of all,
ooh, super chat.
From Christopher Shapley, DVM CVA, everybody's favourite American veterinarian, $10 US. Can't stay long, lives to save and whatnot. Cheers to my favourite debate channel. Well, as long as you're not going to be elbows deep in blood and guts like you were on my stream on Sunday, best of luck with whatever it is you've got to do.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Because he was smothered in goat's blood on Sunday.
All creatures great and small style.
Yeah. I just had this vision of him standing there in a greasy old black apron holding a carving knife up in the air. Yes, I'm watching.
You know, I remember watching that as a kid, like the really old one as a kid, and I never knew what they were doing. When they had a cow that was pregnant, I honestly, like, all the time I watched that first series, I used to wonder, why is that guy that used to be Doctor Who, why is he sticking his hand up the arse of a cow if the cow is pregnant? How's sticking his hand up its bum going to make it any better?
And they go right in up to the shoulder, don't they? It's not the best. Inside. It's not the best. Should we have a look at this first conspiracy slide?
Let's do it. Let's bring it up and let's see what the topic is.
Right, okie dokie. So the first one is on the screen now. It's on the screen now, Catz.
Right. So, do you recognise this one? Creaky, is this one? It's more of a... I wouldn't necessarily call it a conspiracy theory, but do you recognise it?
I got to be honest, I don't, but I would imagine it's because I hate sports and I've got absolutely no interest in them. So if it's a sporting conspiracy, I would have been highly unlikely to know anything about it, sadly. So I'm not going to be much help on this one. But go on, run me through it.
Back when Muhammad Ali was Cassius Clay, he had a fight. I believe it was a rematch fight with Sonny Liston, who was an absolute animal. You know, lots and lots and lots of people have made Sonny Liston famous. He'd never been knocked out. He was just an absolute beast. But he'd fallen in with some, I think, organised crime bosses or whatever. And in the first round of this fight, he appears just to throw himself on the floor.
Right.
As if like when Ali kind of just taps him on the head, he appears to throw himself on the floor. And there's been a massive allegation that the whole fight was fixed and faked. So We've got 2 videos tonight. One of it in real time, one of it slowed down, and we'll let the chat decide and contribute any extra information to what I've given.
Right. Okay. So this is where I now have to try and. So is it the top link?
The top link is what? Yeah, is the top one. is the fast mo. That's how everybody saw it in real time.
Right. Okay.
And then it has been slowed down. We might get a better view with the slow mo. But
Right,
I'm going to be looking out for the chat for people that know a bit more about this than I do. So any information you can add about this story,
right.
feel free.
I'm just going to get past the ads. Right. Okay. So I think what I have to do now, and if I break the stream, well, the stream will be broken. Now then. So I just need to. What do I need to do? Right. Okay. So it's all high tech stuff. This. Yeah. No, that won't work because of the way I've got the. There we are. That's about as good as it's gonna get for the moment.
I tell you what, I'm putting you through it. I'm testing your technical skills tonight with this, aren't I? I'm sorry, mate.
Well, skills is a bit of a stretch, but the video's on the screen and I'm about to press play on it. So let's keep our fingers crossed.
Okay, you might need to just play with it and just fast forward to the knockout. I believe it's about a minute and a half in. But
up on the border Academy.
Minute.
No kidding about that.
Or a bit, sorry, no, maybe a bit further. Maybe I think that's the other one. Just keep scrolling and we'll be able to see where it is from there. If you keep going, keep scrolling to about 4 minutes, maybe 3.5, 4. Okay, stop. Pause it back here. So we'll get to see some boxing. So Sonny Liston, yeah, absolute beast of a man, and I think a lot had made him favourite for the fight. Cassius Clay obviously wasn't the legend he became.
That was the best punch thus far landed by the champion.
Just while this is playing, we'll have a look in the chat, see if anybody knows anything about this. And when the knockout comes, we can watch it a couple of times. But
we note that early, halfway through this first round, that Sonny is shooting mostly, although he's going to the head now, mostly toward that body. You know the old story, you kill the body and the head might follow.
Here it comes. Ready?
Oh.
Now, can we watch that a few times over? And not just the punch, but the way that he carefully lands on the ground.
Yeah. I'll play it again now because this, even somebody as uninterested in sport as me is interested in this. He barely touched him.
He didn't, and look at how he fell. He's not been stunned and knocked out. He even supports himself with his arm, gently lies himself on the canvas.
Hang on a sec. I'm going to get really high tech here now. Playback speed. Half speed.
Well, there is a slow-mo video. The other link, but I suppose we can do it here, can't we?
Yeah, he barely touched. Oh my word. Right, here it comes again. Right, so. You know, a little dab there. He swung with the left and completely missed.
Bill Ashby says there's a TV show called Godfather of Harlem that covers part of this. That might be worth looking at, because the story behind it is this. The story behind it is that Sonny Liston's boxing gym was had links to organized crime, and I can't remember who the mafia boss was, but he was sort of like well entrenched in it. And the story is that he was visited by a couple of men a couple of days before the fight. Obviously, I've got no evidence for this whatsoever, so I'm not saying it's true, but he was visited by a couple of men a couple of days before the fight that told him he was going to be murdered if he won the fight, because the mafia bosses had a lot of money on him losing the fight. They just basically said, you're throwing this fight because you're the favorite and we're going to get a load of money. So he threw the fight. Now, that's what I've heard, but we shall see. I wonder if anyone in the chat knows anything about that, or if we can take a vote.
Right, so my initial impression is that he took a dive. From what I just saw, I know I wasn't aware of this before you just showed it to me. I'm no sporting expert, but watching that video I've just watched, that looked very much to me like, you know, he caught him with the first punch. It wasn't that bad a punch by the comparisons that you see in other fights. He missed completely with the second punch. while he was going down in a rather suspicious manner, in my humble opinion.
I mean, Ali spent his career, and as good as he was, he never made a name for himself as a one-punch knockout artist. You know, that was clearly not a wild swing or a big power punch for him, was it? It was a little, tasty little jab or whatever, barely connected. And that was against a man who'd never been knocked out.
Right. Yeah,
Sonny Liston was a ferocious individual. Ferocious. He was a beast of a man. So
was he more afraid of the mafia than he was of Muhammad Ali?
I think bullets don't come at you with boxing gloves on, do they?
Yeah.
So,
I've got a funny story indirectly about Muhammad. Well, I think it's funny anyway, so I'm going to tell it. When I was in school, there was a boy in my class, and his name was Lee Ali, and he used to swear, and he was from Swansea, and he used to swear blind that Muhammad Ali was his uncle. The fact that Lee was as pasty as me, that both his parents were white, he had no black relatives, was completely irrelevant. And also he didn't know that Muhammad Ali wasn't actually his original, his name was Cassius Clay, wasn't it? Even I know that. But he swore blind all the way through school that Muhammad Ali was his uncle because his name was Lee Ali. But it's I know he was a strange boy. He probably still is. But so he definitely doubled down in a very flat earther style.
Well, I was reading up a little bit on that fight as well. And apparently, witnesses in the corner when Ali went over to the corner after knocking him out also heard the first thing Ali said to his corner was, in a really confused state, was, "He's just laid down. Nobody's going to believe that happened." And so apparently that's well documented, but I might be wrong. Has anyone in the chat said anything that shows they've got a bit more knowledge on it than
somebody, I missed the bloody name though, who said he'd been a martial artist for 25 years, said that, in his experience, he definitely took a dive. It was fake. I don't know if anybody else has got any thoughts of it. Give us a thumbs up in the side chat if you think that was, if you think he threw the fight, if you think he went down out of fear rather than as a result of getting a punch.
Bill Ashby does make a decent point, and he says that it was near the temple, and nothing has to be hard near the temple to have a massive effect. We've seen that before. Yeah,
that's true.
That's true. But it's still talked about that a long, long time. So, come on, thumbs up for dive, thumbs down for not dive. Let's have a look. So, we will be the definitive answer to this for all the people that wanted to know.
Exactly. Framed One is given a thumbs down, but so far everyone else is thumbs up.
So everyone else thinks it was a dive.
Yeah. And it certainly did look like a dive, didn't it? Well, it did to me anyway.
I think the thing is, what made it look like a dive to me wasn't the fact that he went down, from a soft punch or whatever, but it's the way he went down. It wasn't stunned and fell over like he was knocked out.
No.
He put his hand on the ground,
Yeah.
sat on the ground, and then
it was like a bad acting fall down, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like he wanted to fall down, but didn't want to hurt himself doing it.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Like when the old Victorian ladies used to swoon. It was kind of that sort of affair, wasn't it?
I've never seen a woman swoon in real life, mate. Turn and run.
Must just be me.
Swoon.
Dave N gives a thumbs up and a thumbs down, so he's undecided.
Oh, brilliant.
And I don't think Tony Regime understands what thumbs up is. He's just given us one of them. So thank you, Tony.
Yeah. That's awesome. I don't even know how to give a thumbs up on the old, thing. I don't know how to get the icons up. So
you click the smiley. Click the smiley face at the bottom of the chat.
A smiley face at the bottom of the chat. Let's see if I can do it. Whoa! There's all sorts.
Yeah, that's where our custom emojis and everything are. Didn't you ever know?
I didn't know how to access them. That's pretty to put them on as a member. That's brilliant.
Yeah, that's where they are. That's where they are. Anyway,
we busted the first one. Then we've got 7 more to go.
That was too easy.
It was.
Can I choose the next one? I'm looking through. Oh, right then. So I've chosen the next one. So if you don't like it, it's my fault, not Katz's fault. Or did you want to do them in order, Katz?
No, I was actually going to suggest that you muddle them up and we random it.
Yeah.
But you choose one. You choose
Right.
the order you want.
Okay. Oh, not that. Goodness sake. Why is everything so complicated? It's nothing to do with that. Right, hang on a second. I know what I've done.
Seek truth, speak truth is as technical as I am. I think he's just tried to put a thumb in the emoji and it's not where I see you there, seek truth, speak truth, writing the word thumb instead of showing a thumb. I am just as bad. So good to see you, mate.
Oh, no, I'm spoiling the surprise of all the other ones. This sucks. Right.
I wonder what the other ones could be.
Yeah. They're not going to be a surprise. This is as good as it's going to get. Lady Diana.
Oh,
Her Royal Highness. And I would imagine that the conspiracy was she murdered or not?
now again, I have not researched into any of this. Right, all I'm doing is asking the chat what they know about it. So I'm not making claims or anything or saying I believe it. I've just typed up looked into what the conspiracy theory was without doing any further research. So
Yeah.
take that what you will. But apparently she told Paul Burrell, her butler, according to Paul Burrell, who's still alive,
Yeah.
about 6 months before she died, that she was entering a very dangerous part of her life because she believed her husband was going to engineer for some kind of car accident for her
Yeah.
to free him to marry somebody else.
Yeah.
And of course, that's exactly what happened. And that's it. And obviously, there's the motive being the fact that they were just about to announce their engagement, her and Al Fayed,
Yeah.
which would put an Egyptian person into the royal family, etc. Was the motive there? I don't know. What do you think?
I really, really don't know with this one. There was lots of reasons for them to have her killed, but is that something the royal family would do? And I'm not a royalist, nothing like that. You know, Prince Philip was always struck me as a bit creepy, but is he capable of having her seen to? I don't know.
Excuse me. Not at his age, mate. I wouldn't have thought so. No.
Well, he had to warm her. He had to warm her up before he killed her. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure on this one. It's interesting though. The way you and I are discussing this is purely opinion based.
Yeah.
Now,
absolutely.
And I've said this previously on streams, that the problem with conspiracies now is, when people think of conspiracies now, they think of things like the flat earth, don't they? Which isn't a conspiracy. It's just a load of man babies screaming about something that clearly isn't now, nor will it ever be true. But, you know, this kind of thing is what interests me, because this one, for example, it could legitimately be either, but all we are offering is our opinion on what we think. You aren't claiming with 100% certainty that she was murdered, and I'm not claiming with 100% certainty that she wasn't. I'm just offering my opinion, and I think that's where this sort of thing differs.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm not claiming either way. I just what I've done is pick up some conspiracies that are less ridiculous than flat Earth.
Yeah.
Just to see what the chat know about them. You know, I have absolutely no idea.
Yeah. The general consensus in the side chat is that she was murdered.
That's a consensus. I was going to say, I'm on the conspiracy. If you want to tag me into anything, I'm on the Conspiracy Cats account tonight. What account are you using? Agree to disagree.
Agree to disagree. Yeah.
So if you want to tag me or Creaky, and that's what you use, and we'll have a look. But that does seem to be the consensus, doesn't it, of a murder?
Yeah. But you know, the thing is, the way I look at it is, you know, I can't remember too much about the details of the accident now, but were there any mechanical issues found with the car? I know that the driver was allegedly steaming and shouldn't have been behind the wheel, but you know, my train of thought is, if the royal family were to have wanted Lady Diana killed, surely there would have been a more effective way of doing it with everything they have at their disposal than getting her chauffeur pissed.
Well, yes, you know, and you imagine
Do you know
getting
what I
a
mean?
chauffeur drunk wouldn't
Yeah,
guarantee anything.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't understand why he had to be driving so fast. I don't understand wanting privacy and getting away from the paparazzi. I get that.
Yeah.
But no other time in any other famous person's life have I heard them driving 110 miles an hour to get away from someone taking photographs. You get in your car and you're driving away. I mean, what?
Yeah,
I
you
don't
just
know what
wind
they
the
were trying
windows
to-
up. I'm guessing they had privacy glass in the car.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
they didn't need to speed off. Like you say, they just needed to roll the windows up and not let them, you know, have a view. But I just think that the way in which she died was a car accident, and allegedly it was because Trevor Reese Jones, I think his name was.
Oh, that rings a bell. Yeah.
Yeah. So the chauffeur, her driver was, I think he was 3 times over the drink drive limit. That's not really. Do you know what I mean? If you and I were going to arrange to have Anthony Riley, you know, done in, we wouldn't get Nathan Oakley pissed and tell him to give him a lift home, would we? Do you know what I mean?
No, it's probably not the best way to do it.
Yeah, you know, I think the margin of error is a little bit too unpredictable using that particular method. So I don't know. That's just my thoughts on it.
So, yeah, I've seen a few people talking about the paparazzi being all around them, all over them, and that's what I read when I was getting the PowerPoint ready for tonight. That the car was absolutely surrounded, and this to me, like, just seems a bit odd. Like that if you've got a car that's speeding away somewhere, for it to be totally surrounded by paparazzi on bike.
Yeah.
Are they not on motorbikes? They're not thinking of their own safety.
Exactly, and at the end, I know there were cars involved, but like you say, it was mainly guys on mopeds and motorcycles. So why didn't he just knock them off?
Well, yeah,
You know?
might you?
Yeah, if somebody was chasing me on a bike and I was in my car, that's how I'd stop them. It's just, do you know what I mean? I don't know. There's too many things about it. I know that I think the general consensus, not just from the side chat, but, you know, worldwide, is that the royal family had a hand in it. But I don't know. I'm not sure I buy it because of the method.
My overriding memory of this, right? And I don't want this to make me sound heartless, because I'm not heartless. I think obviously what happened was a complete tragedy for the 2 kids that she left behind, and what they've had to put up with growing up and going through that in the eyes of the public was horrendous. So I'm not trivializing any of this, but what was I at the time? Maybe like 17. It was a long time ago, wasn't it? And I was working part-time in a hospital. I was a porter, and I used to take the mail around, etc. And I went in, and I was working that morning, and I landed in just as the news broke that she'd actually died. And I spent all my day going around the hospital, taking post from the out tray and putting post on the in tray, just doing that all the way around. And every single ward I walked around all day, the nurses who were there would do a great job. Without failure, every single ward I walked on, there was at least 1 or 2 nurses in absolute bits, breaking down, in hysterics, crying because she was dead. And maybe I was just insensitive, but I remember thinking, you didn't know her. Like, I know that sounds horrendous, doesn't it? Like, what?
It doesn't. I remember the day myself, but before I get to my recollection of the day, how old did you say you were?
Well, I'm guessing. What year was it?
How old are you now?
Take a stab.
Late 30s, I would hope. I was hoping near a 40.
I'm 41.
41. Thank goodness for that. I thought you were going to say you were like 28 and you just had an uphill paper round or something, because I was a lot older than 17 when she died. I had 2 children, and I remember the day. I remember getting up and turning the news on, and it was just everywhere. Lady Diana Spencer, you know, Her Royal Highness has been killed in a tragic car accident in Paris. But I definitely wasn't 17, Catz.
Well, it was 23 years ago, over 23 years ago. So I would have been 17. It would have been not long before I turned 18. So I've just checked. Jesus. It was August 97.
Yeah, I was in my mid-20s then, when I.
So.
Oh, well, that's it then. Bye, everyone.
What's the chat there saying? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, everyone's making me feel great now. Kiri Mack was 12. Skydiver Tana was 16. Well, you both suck then, don't you? Yeah, I've been watching the chat, and the general consensus is that she was killed. Murdered,
right.
I mean.
Well, that's two down, 6 to go.
Right, okay. See if we can,
I'll let you drive, mate. You choose whichever one you fancy.
Can I pick the next one?
You can pick them all, mate. You pick the order.
Right.
And don't forget, if you're in the chat and you happen to have a bit of knowledge, because obviously we don't know anything about these conspiracies. That's part of the fun, so we can just speculate completely tonight. It's not a debate, we're just speculating.
Yeah.
But if you're in the chat and you happen to actually know about them and we don't, just tag us in and we'll get you on for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and you can talk to us about it. And then, we'll see you off and get on to the next conspiracy.
Right then, the next one now is kind of sort of on the screen. Let me just adjust the size of it. So it's something to do with UFOs, clearly. Can you see it yet, Kat?
I can see it. I can. Just while you bring that up, the Snark has stopped a super chat. I thought, with it not being debate, might address them as we go through the show tonight, maybe?
Yeah.
And he says, you're going to do a life, the universe, and everything birthday. I think that's to you, is it?
Are you going to do a life, the universe, and everything birthday? I don't understand that at all. Should I?
Life, the universe, and everything birthday.
Are you going to do
Not
a
sure,
life?
but I do owe the Snark an apology because he did a premiere last week. And I promised I was going to be there for the video, and I had it in my head. And he told me premiere at 7:45. 7:45, I'll be there. 7:45. So I said right. And then over the week, I thought, his premiere's at 9 o'clock, and I even remember tweeting out at 8:30. Oh, I'll be there half an hour. And when I went there, I'd missed it. I was an hour late. So
I'm useless at remembering to do things. Like last week when you asked me while we were on stream if I was subscribed to what's his name?
Affiliate.
Yeah, I was going to say Sheldon then. If I was subscribed to Sheldon's channel, it was like, nope, and thanks for pointing it out. I am now, but I've still not watched any of his content. I can't understand any of it.
He's a bright lad, isn't he? Very bright.
He is.
Mr. Andrew has just posted a good comment. This is a so-called tic-tac UFO thing, and I have seen Thunderfoot's video on this, and Thunderfoot did do a brilliant video on this where he made a very, very, very strong case that this was basically just a goose flying or geese flying. And I know that sounds ludicrous, but when you see Thunderfoot's maths behind it and justification for it was amazing.
Yeah.
But this isn't about that UFO. This is about professional pilots seeing UFOs, and I do have a video link on the bottom of that slide that shows one that I quite like.
Oh, we didn't even have the slide then, but we've got it now. So what is this, Kat? Again, I'm not familiar. I've not seen this before. Obviously, I can see it's a UFO sighting, but what?
Okay, so this one is the famous Tic Tac UFO that was released when they declassified some documents. I forget how many years ago it was. They declassified some of this came out. Thunderfoot did take it down and did a brilliant job of making it look like it was a goose. And I thoroughly subscribed to everything Thunderfoot said. He did a brilliant job. But this conspiracy is more about pilots admitting to seeing UFOs in general.
Right.
And if you see at the bottom of that picture, I have some footage that may or may not be fake. I don't know. I just ripped it off the internet. Let's have a chat about it. But underneath there, let's
we'll give it a go. I can't make any promises, but we'll give it a go. See, the thing is, I'm of the opinion that UFO, we've been conditioned to associate the term UFO with aliens, but that's not necessarily the case. Now, I've said before, I absolutely think that aliens exist. In my opinion, I just don't think that they've been here. I don't think any of these sightings are E.T.'s cousin, just out for a spin. I just think they are what the name suggests. They're just things that are flying and we don't know what they are, so they're unidentified, not necessarily alien craft.
Absolutely. And I won't tell the story again because I've told it about 3 times on here, but like I said, where I live, we had that with the stealth bomber. It was test flown over where I live, and everybody thought, oh, there we go, you got it on the screen.
Got it on the screen. Right, should we give it a watch?
Yeah, it looks like it looks like a whale coming out of the clouds.
Is that it?
That's the UFO, and you'll see the plane wing in a second when you press play.
Holy crap!
Seen anything like that, Creaky?
So it's definitely interesting, but it is. So what I meant by what I said earlier on is if you and I were stood outside my house and a huge eagle flew past and neither of us had a clue what it was, that is an unidentified flying object to us.
Absolutely.
So how anybody could consider that to be an alien spacecraft, it just looked like a puff of black smoke to me. I tried my glasses on upside down as well, and it still looked like a puff of black. It didn't look like anything to me.
It is difficult because with videos like that as well, you've always, especially with the technology these days, you've always got a big chance that somebody's hoaxing. Like, so straight away, you look at that and think, oh, how am I going to prove that somebody's not deliberately done this?
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. There is a really good YouTube channel that does that a lot. I don't know if anybody in the side chat or you cats are familiar with Captain Disillusion.
No.
Absolutely amazing channel. He only puts out one video a month, but his production, it is absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. And he debunks videos like that. You know, and he examines it. He examines the footage sort of frame by frame. He's a special effects and a visual effects artist, so he knows what to look for. I highly recommend having a look at Captain Disillusion's channel. Absolutely amazing. I've watched so much of his content, and it's always based around a particularly good one was the city in the clouds over China, I believe it was. I don't know if you've... Well, he debunked that. People were trying to claim it was... some people were saying it was a mirage. Some people were saying that it was a... what they call it now? Fata Morgana.
Oh, yeah.
Mirage, is it? But he's basically broken the whole thing down and then shown how it was done. And it was basically just a technique called rotoscoping, which is green screen. Without the green screen. But honestly, have a look at his channel, mate. You'll absolutely love it. It's really interesting. But yeah, that's off topic. But to me, that just looked like somebody filming out of a window and there was a black thing. And they didn't know what it was. Therefore, I saw an alien. No, you didn't. You saw a black thing and you didn't know what it was.
Yeah, to me, I'm going to lean with that particular video as being a hoax, because if it's not a hoax, then I can't think of what it would have to be some kind of state-of-the-art testing craft that we don't know about that's being tested or something, because it was so big and solid looking. So
hang on, have we just watched the same video?
You are? What, sorry?
Have we just watched the same? Was I looking at the right thing? So the alien craft is meant to be that black, slightly... Hang on a sec. Now that you've said it looked solid, I'm like, did I play the right video?
Have you watched a different video to what I've just seen on screen?
I don't know.
What was looking out the window?
Yeah. So, is it back on your screen now? Can you see my mouse?
It is.
So
but there are bits where it looks big and solid.
Yeah, but that's the alien. So that black thing.
But when they zoom in, I think there's better shots than that. When they zoom in, there are some better shots. So, like, there you go. What could that be? Blimey, it's King Kong watching a blue movie.
Yeah, it looks like a skid mark in the clouds. I don't know, and it's not that I want to like poo-poo the idea of it, because I think it would be very cool if somebody was to actually see, an alien craft. But my issue with the whole, UFO sightings and cryptids and Bigfoot and everything else is there a shop somewhere in America, because it's nearly always in America, is there a shop somewhere in America where you can go to specifically buy a really poor quality, very, very grainy camera specifically for taking photos of UFOs and Bigfoot and, that kind of thing? That's what I don't.
Cameras like that wherever I go, mate.
Do you know what I mean? We've literally all got, so I can take a photo and it is instantly on my phone in super duper high resolution. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's, and we've all got that with us day in, day out in our pocket. So why is nobody snapping a picture of E.T. peeing up against the fence outside the pub? Do you know what I mean? And there's no good quality images.
Yeah. Well, I think you've made a really good point there. Maybe a point that couldn't have been made 20, 30 years ago when, video cameras were coming out and you cost the load and they weren't portable.
Yeah.
But now you are right. Everybody.
Yeah.
That excuse of why couldn't you take a picture of something is now gone, isn't it?
And with not so much with the alien, alleged alien sightings, but certainly with the Bigfoot sightings. So they're out there hunting, they see Bigfoot. What do they say? Could just bear with me a second, Bigfoot. I've got to run 80 feet in that direction, grab my grainy camera out of my backpack and take a photo of you from all the way over there, because I definitely wouldn't want to take it this close up and actually prove you're real. It just all seems a bit weird.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I don't know what I haven't had the side chat open, so I don't know if the side chat now think I'm completely insane or if anybody agrees with me, but
it's been good conversation there.
Yeah,
I'll just ask the side chat while doing it. Can you give a thumbs up if you think some of the aliens that have been seen by UFOs are real aliens? I say aliens, we should be saying UFOs, but or a thumbs down if you think they're all just modern. They're all just of terrestrial origin.
But the funny thing is, I'm of the opinion, and this is an opinion of myself, that doing what I now do is making me even more inclined to instantly shit on any conspiracy theory that anyone presents to me.
More skeptical.
Yeah, way more skeptical. I was, and I've got to the point now where, like, if somebody says something to me in real life, somebody came into my shop, right, a few weeks ago. She was an older woman, and after she left, I felt so bad because I literally called her stupid straight to her face, because she said, I think this is a load of nonsense, these masks, the government are in on it. And I said, well, that's a stupid attitude to have then. And I said, if you don't wear a mask, you're not coming in here. I said, if you were stupid enough to think that this is being faked, then you're too stupid to come in my shop. And I would never have spoken to a customer like that previously. Well, I might have. I shouldn't say never. It's a bit of a broad statement. But I seem to have now absolutely zero tolerance for anybody that wants to discuss anything conspiracy. I can't. I just can't do it.
Did she leave you a tip?
No, she spent 60 quid.
Well,
therefore proving I was right and she was stupid. I insulted her and she still spent money in the shop. But I don't know, and it's not that I've done it quite a few times as well. I can't do it anymore. I've never been very good at pretending to like somebody or pretending to, you know, oh yeah, you're probably right. They probably are. I can't not be honest, which is a blessing and a curse. I worked, I don't know, 15, maybe 20 years ago in a motor factors selling car parts. And there was a team of about 12 people and I hated them all. Bunch of knobs. Not my type of people at all. And the Christmas do was coming up and they kept saying, oh, come on, you're going to come. No, I don't want to. And I was just being, no, it's not my cup of tea. I don't really drink much. I don't want to come. And the manager kept on about it so much. In the end, I said to him, look, I can't stand any of you. It's bad enough I've got to work with you, let alone come out and socialise with you. Stop asking me. And that's what it's like, a blessing and a curse. I can't pretend to like somebody, see?
You know what? That's not a bad trait though, because at least like people know. It
can be though, because I can unintentionally upset people as well, even when I don't mean to upset them. I just can't. I can't be false. I'm not very good at it.
I like it. Well, that makes me feel good then. At least I know that I'm on your good side.
Oh, you'd know if I didn't like you, because by now I would have probably told you. I really would have. I you know, it's my wife hates it. She hates it, absolutely hates it.
Glee made a good point before in the chat. When we were talking about cameras and saying how easy it is to take photographs of stuff, and we, you know, and monitor people, he said he brought up Epstein, who is on the list for tonight, and he said it can work the other way. You know, when things happen that don't get captured, that should be getting captured. You know, is that evidence the other way? Or he said something like that. I'm paraphrasing it. But that is on the list later on. Good to see you, Glean.
Yeah.
Okay. Wonder how his song's doing. I enjoyed his song. Did you hear it?
Whose song?
Gleam's song. He's got a song release. It was doing really well in the reggae section on iTunes.
Really?
But, just type the name of it in the chat so people can search it, Gleam.
Yeah, I love a bit of reggae.
He's good. He's actually genuine, not blowing smoke. He's actually pretty good.
Do you know, it baffles me how many talented people there are in this community. You know, different people. You'll come across different people and think, gee, I can't. You know, like that for example. And I tell you who I always saw as particularly talented, and he's wasting it by being a complete dick, is Mr. Cheswick. All those songs he came up with, he's a musician. Even that, did you see the video that Howard George Stirrup posted on Twitter the other day of him playing the guitar?
Was that Howard?
Yeah, I think so. I think he said it was. Yeah, so do you know what I mean? It's I don't know. Is Creaky saying he's surprised? Is Creaky saying he's surprised that some of us have talent? Absolutely. Of course I'm not surprised. I know I said I was. Shut up. You know what I meant. Don't complicate it. It's refreshing to come across talented people.
That's it. Adjust your brightness. That was the title of it.
Is that a ball joke?
So track that down. I'm sure he'll tell you where Spotify, iTunes, whatever. It's a good listen. It's a good listen.
Yeah, I'll have a look at that. So, right, should we have a look at the next one?
Let's have a look. You choose.
Right, okay. I know which one I want to save for last. So I'm going to go for this one here because I have not got a Scooby-Doo what this one's about.
Rune's
right.
here. Rune, I think this is number 4, but he's asked how far we're on the list of 10. This is number 4, I think, but it's actually a list of 8 because I couldn't count and started making it late.
And because I'm a terrible person and I didn't contribute at all. Oh, wrong one again. Hang on a second. Right, hang on a sec. This is right. So get rid of that now. So I need to do that, and now I need to click that. This is very complicated stuff, Catz.
I'm glad you're driving. So can you imagine if this was me?
I'm cool as a cucumber. Cool as a cucumber.
I'd be crying by now. Oh, good choice.
I am on the inside.
You're showing it well.
Yeah. And you know, I said you'd know if I didn't like you. Well, that's slowly changing. Right. So we have an Oriental gentleman with a breathing apparatus on. I don't even know what this is.
Right, this is Dr. Now, I'm going to get this wrong. I'm going to get it wrong. If anyone can speak Chinese or pronounce it, you're going to know that I'm pronouncing it wrong. And because I've shut the webpage down that had his full name on, I'm only going off memory as well. So this is Dr. Li. I think it's Li Wang. But or Li Yang, but I might be wrong. Or Dr. Li. No, not that kind of Wang who is laughing behind the scenes there. No, not that. He was instrumental. Somebody correct me and tell me what it is. Yeah, P70. Cat's just like saying Wang. It's not that. I think it's Li Wang, something like that. Dr. Li. Very, very serious. He was the first person in China coming out of Wuhan to say that there'd been a new virus that people needed to be warned about. He was featured in a Panorama documentary. And he said that he was seeing patients coming in with these new symptoms. He originally thought it was a new strain of the SARS virus that came out. And he essentially he got a visit after he put a video on YouTube by the police to tell him to stop. And he was charged with passing out public misinformation by the police. And then even though he was, quite young and fit, etc., he was one of the first people to die from the coronavirus after being told to keep stum about there being a new virus. But he wasn't the only one. This whole conspiracy for me is, how much did China deliberately suppress the information about the coronavirus? How much did they lead to it spreading like it did by their own inaction? There's 2 video links under there. One of them is Dr. Li, and the other one is a social media figure in China who was one of several social media people in China reporting on the issue. They were told not to do it, and then they all stopped immediately making videos about the coronavirus before it was made public. They all stopped at the same time, and all of them simultaneously at the same time went missing or were found dead. Right.
Are we going to risk getting this video claimed by playing this video because it's got the Lagerlurgy in it, or are we feeling brave?
I think, to be honest, we're going to be claimed, and with the number of videos we've shown of other people, big channels,
yeah.
we'll
and the number of times you just said Wang. That's not going to help much either, you dirty birdie. Right then, and just as a public service announcement, do not type Dr. Wang into Google without filters on.
Query Max put it on there. It's Li Wenliang, not Li Wang. It's Li Wenliang. I was not getting that wrong deliberately. I had it up on the on the tab, and I had the tab shut.
Right.
To apologise.
Right then. Right, no Wangs on screen. Is this a video, Kat?
I don't know. I can't see it on the screen. You'll have to decide where you want to, because I can't hear it. Whether you just want to play highlights, you probably don't need to play the whole thing, but just whether you decide how long you want to play it for.
Right. Okay. So there we are. We'll just make it big. Transform. Right.
Response to the coronavirus.
Oh, hang on.
You're still
still on slow motion. I thought she'd had a stroke or something. Right. Normal speed.
But now with the accusations of cover-ups, crackdowns, and even forced quarantines beginning to mount, is China trying to shut down coronavirus whistleblowers? The start of criticism towards the Chinese authorities was the death of whistleblowing doctor Li Wenliang. He's one of now 2 high-profile doctors to die as a result of the outbreak. Dr. Li was working at Wuhan Central Hospital when he saw multiple instances of this coronavirus, now known officially as COVID-19 in patients. He tried to warn fellow medics over a messaging app at the end of December, telling them to wear protective clothing. Because communication is so monitored in China, the authorities soon caught up with Dr. Lee. Police.
Right, I'm going to stop it there for just a second because I kind of forgot that we were live then. I definitely want to watch this video though because it seems as if it's going to be a very interesting take on it. What do you think?
Well, I watched the Panorama documentary, which was very, very thorough. It was really, really in depth. And the other link, like we don't have to put it on, but the links they had to people in Wuhan at the time who were reporting on YouTube, reporting out, you know, they were in fear for their life. You could watch them on YouTube. You know, the videos that have been mirrored elsewhere.
Yeah.
And they, you know, one of the blokes was just in tears. You know, he was on the run. He was in fear, but he said, "I won't be stopped. I will report what's happening here."
Yeah.
And then all of them just stopped, and some turned up dead, some were missing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, people talk about the virus conspiracy, the virus hoax or whatever. To me, the virus conspiracy is the lack of efficiency in which, and the deliberate lack of efficiency in which that information was put out there.
Yeah.
I think it helped with the spread. Bill actually made a good point before. I'll see if I can find it in the chat. He said perhaps it wasn't the government of China, but the local Wuhan authorities that were scared about, you know, of admitting. But I can't remember where I can't find his comment. But
it's a funny thing, see, because with 100% certainty, I would be confident enough to say that the British government knew about it before they told us, obviously.
Yeah.
But I would like to believe that was because in the first instance, they were trying to avoid a huge public panic. And in the second instance, they had to plan for it, how they were going to deal with it on such a huge scale, didn't they? You know, they couldn't just come out and say, right, everybody stay home. We don't know how you're going to get any money. We don't know how you're going to feed yourselves, but stay home. So they had to put a plan of action in place before announcing it to us. So then conspiracy theorists are like, oh, see, the government, they were in on it. And I know where that comes from, but I think that they had to have everything in place before making us aware of it. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if you agree or disagree. You know, it's I don't know, but I
totally agree. And Tony Regime has just put a very similar comment, saying the USSR tried to cover up Chernobyl for a, you know, I'm assuming for a similar purpose.
Yeah,
you know, they wanted to,
yeah.
But I think with them it was more about trying to find a way to sort it out themselves.
Yeah, yeah. Because you know, even now with the lockdown situation and everything, you know, whether you love or hate Boris, can you imagine what his job is like at the minute? He has literally got the whole country looking to him for guidance. Basically, you know, you're a teacher, so you may be in a classroom with 30 kids, and they are looking to you for guidance. You know, right, Mr. Catz, what's the correct way to do this? And they're all there looking to you for guidance. Imagine that on the scale that Boris is experiencing it at the minute. The whole country doing what those 30 kids do to you, looking up to you and saying, okay,
exactly. And you've got
what have we got to do?
And there's no easy win. There's no right situation because you know, unfortunately, you could be very harsh with it to try and save lives, and lots of people would want that. But in the meantime, while you're doing that, you're absolutely destroying people's businesses and homes, and you're destroying, you know, the economy. Or you could take the approach that I thought he was going to take to start with, which was try and not put things in place and just try and hope that, you know, the herd immunity would come in. And then he got panned for that because obviously that was costing lives. But what is the right answer? No, I would hate to be in charge of trying to sort this out.
I know. It must be the worst.
He does, he's going to annoy some people.
Yeah. I think he's in the position now where he can't do wrong for doing right, or do right for doing wrong, whichever way around it the saying goes, you know. But whatever he does now, you know, he's fighting a losing battle, I think, because as you said, he's gonna please some, he's not gonna please others. Some will love him for the way he's dealt with it, some will hate him. You know, I've been directly affected by it, so have you, so has everybody watching this now. You know, we all just have to do the best we can with what we've got, and you know, and hope that we come through the other side of it intact. You know, there's none of us like it. I certainly don't like wearing a mask. You know, it's not fun. It's, you know, it's uncomfortable and you know, stifling. It's not a nice thing to have to wear, but I wear one because it's the responsible thing to do, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree, and it's refreshing for me when I'm working in schools, and kids they can challenge, you know, rules a lot. You know, they need firm boundaries. They'll challenge the uniform rules. They'll challenge anything. You give a kid an inch, and a lot of them will take them out because that's what kids do. And
of course they do.
That's what we all were.
Yeah.
But when it comes to wearing the masks, I'm going to be honest, they take it so super seriously.
Yeah.
And they are like, of course I'm wearing my mask. Why would I not wear my mask? And it's really refreshing. And then you see people who claim to be grown-ups who claim to be, you know, trying to help people by finding the truth, and then making the situation a million times worse by organizing these gatherings in the hundreds or even thousands sometimes. Yeah. You know, causing these super spreading events, making it worse for everybody, making things linger on more for everybody. You know, and they expect a pat on the back for their work. I'm getting on my soapbox there, but
no, because I agree with you. Wasn't there an instance a couple of months back where there were, I think they were a married couple and they were both conspiracy theorists, and they hosted a COVID is fake gathering, and then both died from the virus.
Yeah, I remember that. And one of them, I mean, I think the wife was the first one to go, and the husband had to sit and watch his wife die. Knowing, oh, I'm not well, and he must have felt bloody awful from that, you know.
I know.
We had a guy on here for a debate, and he debated me about I don't even remember. This might have been while you were off. It might have been me and him. It might have been while you were off. But we debated about the virus, and I was trying to show him how all these ideas about Koch's postulates and PCR testing was wrong, etc. And in the debate, I asked him, because he kept saying, well, I don't know. You know, you're telling me about PCR testing. You're telling me about Koch's postulates, but I don't know any of that. So, you know, am I to believe you or someone else? And that was his answer to everything. So at the end, I said, if your whole attitude is you don't know, so it could be either way, then why are you getting involved in these big protests? And you know, because if you don't know that's the right thing to do either. You don't know that that's not making the situation worse. You don't know that that's not spreading the virus. Yeah. And he just couldn't see. He just couldn't see it at all. He couldn't see that, like, oh yeah, maybe I am wrong.
Yeah,
you know, it's like the classic. Maybe I should see both sides of the coin.
Yeah, it's like the classic flat earthers argument, though, isn't it? I just know the Earth is flat. I can't prove it. I've got no evidence. I just know. Yeah. But that means nothing. That means nothing at all. You have to be able to provide proof and evidence and demonstrate that this thing that you think is so is. And here's how I'm going to prove it to you.
And the thing is, the evidence that's provided by, you know, virus deniers and flat earthers, it's never evidence for a flat earth. It's never evidence for there not being a virus. What it is people saying, well, if the earth is a globe, why do we see it's in trying to chip away at the current understanding. Yeah. You know, if there is a virus, then why do we see this? It's in trying to chip away at that. But every time they do it, they show a complete misunderstanding of the model that they're trying to debunk. They're showing their own ignorance while they do it, and that's a frustrating bit, you know. But,
and the thing is, though, if you go back to the virus, it's the same sort of thing, isn't it? You know, and you know, to a certain extent, I suppose the government don't really help themselves that much, because you know they came out and said, look, you know, that the figures are slightly squiffy. You know, they're not quite, you know, they have been slightly overreported, but even if that is the case, that's exactly the sort of thing that conspiracy theorists, see, they've admitted now. It's actually only 2 people that have died from it, not 2 million. And they latch on to that little sort of statement, is, you know, they cherry pick the bit of the argument that suits what they want it to be.
Yeah, and it is frustrating. And however many times you can tell them, you know, another thing they latch onto is a survival rate. The survival rate's really high. You know, the survival rate is really high, and I'm not personally afraid of getting it. Doesn't mean that I'm going to contribute passing it on.
No,
survival rate is high, but when you have a virus that spreads the way this does, then millions and millions and millions and millions of people are going to get it. Well, suddenly that death rate of 1%, less than 1%, is a hell of a lot of people. Yeah,
and you know, with the people I speak to when I work in the vape shop, I'm speaking to people. All our customers are regular customers. They come in, week out, and it's getting to the point now where pretty much every time I work, somebody will come in and, I've not seen you for a while. Oh yeah, I've had the virus. I was in hospital for 2 weeks, so I was laid up in bed for a month, and that's becoming far more frequent now. My own parents, the house next door but one to them, and my parents aren't young. They're both in their 70s, but their next door neighbours were both in their 80s. The husband and wife both contracted the virus and both died within 8 days of each other. So, you know, how anybody can be stupid enough to say they don't think it's real, it just baffles me. But I think things like the news reporting that the figures may be slightly adrift contribute to it's like throwing petrol on a fire, isn't it? See, I told you. It's that kind of, it's just the little thing that they need to be able to latch on to, isn't it? To blow it up into an even bigger conspiracy. But that applies to all conspiracies, I think.
If anything isn't 100% nailed on certain because, you know, it's new and we need time to develop, you know, the even more accurate test we've got now or whatever. If anything's not 100% bob on, well, that's it. It's not real. It's as simple as that. You know, when I was chatting with that guy on the debate, I said to him, I was telling him how much more common false negative tests are than false positives. And I showed him scientific papers that compared it, and the graphs had to be drawn on even completely different scales because the false negatives were so more common than the false positives. And his response to that was, well, all you've told me there is that the test doesn't work, and that's it. The test doesn't work then. Yeah,
but that's not what you've told him, is it?
It's not what I've no, but then you've got to have the ability to, I suppose, to put 2 and 2 together. I wonder what the chat think. Like, what does the chat think about? Should we say like a thumbs up if China acted correctly at the beginning of the pandemic, or thumbs down if you think maybe they contributed to it starting to spread before we could do anything about it? Does that sound fair? Are they two options, Creaky?
Yep, sounds like a plan to me. Thumbs down. We got some up and some undecided. So up, thumbs up and thumbs down will take us undecided. See, but this is an interesting result because myself, you, and everyone watching this are anti-conspiracy. We're all fairly skeptical, and yet it's a very split result in the side chat, which then gives a little bit more weight to the possibility that China didn't act either as quickly as they should have or as they should have, full stop.
I think so. And I think they were a little bit naughty, Creaky. I think they were.
Can you imagine though, right? Imagine how me and you started this virus and we're like, oh my God, we got to tell everybody. No, you tell them. You tell them, Catz. No, you tell. No, you tell them. No, it would be. Can you imagine that? By the way, world leaders, we've accidentally started off a virus that's probably going to wipe out millions of people this year. Love the new flag, though, by the way. Can you imagine having to tell people that?
I'd send the message. If you said you tell them, I go, okay, I'll tell them we've done it.
Yeah.
Creaky has started a new virus and doesn't want to tell you, so I'm gonna be the hero and alert everybody. That's what I'd do.
Yeah.
Oh,
do you know, somebody said to us in a stream once that for fun we should start off a conspiracy theory of our own and see how many of the morons on YouTube we can get to buy into it. It's just come to me now. It's actually quite a simple one. We could, the conspiracy could go along the lines of that it's Michael Jackson's fault. Because he clearly knew about it years ago, because he's been wearing masks since the early since the early noughties, isn't he? So Michael Jackson started it off. That's the conspiracy.
He dead now?
God, a long time now, isn't it? Hey Google, what year did Michael Jackson die? 2009.
2009.
Oh shit, I should have known that because he died a couple of days after my father-in-law. Oh, well, it's a kick in the nuts for me when I go downstairs after for not remembering that, if Mrs. Blinder's watching. But yeah, 2009, so 11 years. Right. Jesus.
Oh, well. Bless his cotton socks.
Exactly.
Right,
and his face mask. Right then, what's the next one? Oh, right then. We appear to have a George Clooney conspiracy. Let's have a look. See what this is. Oh, for God's sake. I'll press the button right by the end of the stream if it kills me. Right, so get rid of that. Go back to that screen. Now, click on that. Boom. Right, okay. George. Oh, what's going on here now?
Gary D said he got tickets for his O2 shows before he went, so I wonder if you got your money back. I know it's morbid, but I wonder if you get your money back. I'm sure he'll let us know. What could this be about?
What is that? A goat in the foreground?
It is a goat, mate. Yeah, it is a goat.
Trust the Welsh guy to be able to identify that from such a blurry image. Why is George Clooney giving him the stink eye? That's what I want to know. And filming it, he appears to be interrogating a goat.
Have you seen this film, which is supposed to be based loosely on a true story? Because if you've seen the film, it's hilarious.
I've not, no.
The Men Who Stare at Goats, Ewan McGregor and George Clooney.
Right.
So good. And basically it's about it's well worth watching. Like, forget the conspiracy or not, just the film is brilliant. But it's about somebody who used to be trained as a psychic spy, and one of the ways they trained them was by killing goats, by staring at them and stopping the hearts.
Is that what Chris Shapley was doing on Sunday? He was interrogating a goat and it went tragically wrong.
Oh, man. It's such a good film, but it highlighted psychic spies. And one of my favourite psychic spies I like to laugh at is Major Ed Dames, who predicted that we're all going to die in something called the kill shot. He's also predicted that Bigfoot is a projection of a satellite that's an alien satellite that orbits, and when Bigfoot wants to come and have something to eat, it projects him down onto the Earth. But he was a remote viewer. Major Ed Dames, his link is in the chat there. But I do want to talk about remote viewing and what people think of that. But if you
didn't know Rod Hull had a brother. And I take back what I said earlier on about aliens that have never visited Earth, because they clearly have.
Screen, though?
No, he's not. This is just for my amusement.
Oh, that's yours. All right. Major Ed Dames is his favourite. He was, according to himself, some of the nonsense he says, I really doubt him, but according to himself, he was a remote viewer for the CIA. He's been a remote viewer for private firms. Gleam says he's a remote viewer, but his says Samsung. That's quite like that. But here's what it says about the kill shot and how we're all going to die.
Again, this isn't one I feared of. I'm afraid I'm being about as much use as a chocolate teapot tonight, don't I? But
I'm getting a lot of this because I listened to Coast AM used to quite often before I went to bed. Major Dames was quite a regular guest on there.
Right. So give me some background. Is he just an all around conspiracy guy, or
Well, he claims to be ex-military.
Right.
And he claims to have been in a wing of the military that trained people as psychic spies to remote view. And Uri Geller claimed to have been employed by oil companies to remote view. And basically, you sit in a room, you visualize a question or something you want to know, and then you draw on a piece of paper, and that's your answer, or something like that. I haven't got a clue.
Right.
But is the video? Is the video on, or is it?
Is there a video as well? Oh yeah. Hence
sorry, I thought that's
link.
what you were doing.
No. I was looking at various pictures of him.
I thought you said Rod Hill's brother. I thought you had the video on your side.
No. I was trying to find a PNG of email for for later, but I couldn't. Right. Okay. Let's.
Gary D, just while you're doing that, makes a good point. He says you can read documents about remote viewing on declassified CIA files. I do genuinely believe that remote viewing was something that was investigated, if you like, or tried to see whether there's any substance behind it from people like the CIA. I personally believe that, and then tossed out because it didn't work. That's what I believe, but maybe other people in the chat will have different opinions.
Yeah. Right then, let's.
So the kill shot that he's going to tell us about is essentially a solar flare that's going to be launched after Korea launched a nuclear missile in anger. After North Korea, I think he said, that will be the last telltale event before the kill shot. And this is him.
It's nearly him. I'm working on it, I promise. Right, okay. Here we go.
You wake up one morning, there's no power, and there's no water, and there's no gasoline. It's going to be a Mad Max scenario. That's what you're going to be confronted with. The government is not going to help you. I'm telling you now what's going to happen. It is absolutely critical, or you're going to die.
Oh.
Nice, isn't it?
Hmm.
But it's all right, because if you want to escape the kill shot, because he's done the remote viewing, if you buy his CDs and you buy his how to survive guides that he's put together,
Right.
you'll be fine.
Right. Ah, strange that, isn't it?
Hmm.
Very strange. Very strange. I've tried on a number of occasions to make a video about remote viewing, but it always just ends up being too ridiculous even for one of my videos, because you can just see that they're just sitting there making shit up as they speak.
Yeah.
It's you know, even Uri Geller was outed as a fraud, wasn't he?
James Randi, he set him up well and truly on the what was that American show called, the famous one where they got James Randi as a consultant so they could find a way to set him up. I can't remember what it was.
Oh, I can't remember. I know what you're on about though, because it was one of the videos I looked at. Because he basically humiliated him publicly, didn't he? And proved him to be a fraud. And he said he will never claim to have psychic abilities again. He will just continue to be what he is, which is an entertainer. Well, shouldn't that have been sufficient in the first instance?
Well, Darren Brown pulls that off. Darren Brown does all the same feats and is open from the start. This isn't real. I'm an entertainer, you know. Mm-hmm. And he's so good at what he does.
Yeah.
That's a great way to do it, rather than making people believe that there are,
I think, though, Uri Geller was a huge celebrity in a different time, wasn't he? You know, it was 70s and 80s, you know, where you could get away with a lot more, couldn't you? You know, you've only got to look at the comedians of the day, you know, Bernard Manning and the like Jim Davidson. They wouldn't get on TV now if their life depended on it, because they were very racist, very homophobic, sexist. They were everything that we have now been conditioned to not be, and quite rightly so. But, you know, so it was a very different time, wasn't it? But like you say, Darren Brown does all right, and he's just honest about it. Look, this isn't real. These are tricks. These are things I've learned to do, and it appears as though I can X, Y, Z. Read your mind, or whatever it may be. And it's still just as entertaining, in my opinion.
He's brilliant, is Darren Brown. He's absolutely... I think the guy's amazing. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. What do you think that the governments have ever taken it this kind of stuff seriously in a way that they've investigated it to see if it works? Or do you think they've never touched it?
What, remote viewing?
Yeah.
Ooh. I think they may have looked at it, because, you know, there's police forces in the UK that have you know, trusted what psychics have said, isn't it? You know, so I can't see any reason to think that they wouldn't have, you know, looked at it initially and thought, you know, because I suppose it would be irresponsible of them to, you know, dismiss it out of hand without seeing if there is anything to it, which there clearly isn't. But I don't know.
They took it seriously with UFOs, didn't they? When all the UFO sightings started to come in, which were prompted obviously by the movies in Hollywood, wasn't it? You know, people then some of the UFOs at the forefront of the mind, but they did put things in place then to very quickly to like investigate these. I think, wasn't it that Project Blue Book on Sky, which is semi-ish based on the people who were the first ones to really look into that phenomenon?
Yeah,
I got that right.
Yeah, I made a video about Project Blue Book, and the guy, I'm not sure if I've told this story on stream before. So I made a video about Project Blue Book. He was an American guy. Sorry, Americans, it's always you. I can't say why, but it is. And the video did okay. And then I was sat in my living room one day, and I got a message go off on my phone, and it's a guy from one of the YouTube groups that I belong to on Facebook. So I was chatting away to him, and he kind of looked a little bit familiar in his profile picture, but he's just got one of those faces. You know, some people, they just seem familiar. Well, anyway, to cut a long story short, he was the guy I had made the Project Blue Book video about, asking me for advice on editing, and he actually thought the video was very funny. But he would, so I spoke to him, and I kind of lightened it. So I said, so even though you're completely insane, you're actually a nice enough guy. And he's like, I'm not insane. I've got access to things that the CIA haven't even got access to. And I said, so I said, okay, what exactly? I can't tell you. If the CIA aren't allowed to know, you certainly aren't. I said, well, what do you do for a living then? I'm unemployed at the moment. So how are you privy to information that the CIA aren't? I can't tell you that either. So he just kind of was digging himself even deeper into a hole and doubling down on what his beliefs are. But he was a really nice guy.
What I like about that is it's so secret he can't tell you anything, except what he can tell you is he does have access to that information.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I'll tell you that bit, that's all right.
Yeah, exactly. But again, it's that thing, isn't it? We can't prove the earth is flat. We just know, and we are going to tell you we know. You know, of course we have. But my video from yesterday, which is grossly underperforming, if anybody hasn't seen it yet, was about Barnabas Nagy, or Nagy, whatever the hell his name is. And he had, I don't know a lot about it, but there's some psychological phenomenon, the moon illusion, and the moon looks bigger. The sun looks bigger when it's setting, and
yeah.
And then he was talking about another phenomenon then, which is a double sunset. So you look east, you can see the sunset, then you look west, you can see the sun. I did start reading about it, but I got bored really quickly, so I kind of skimmed over it. But he did exactly that. I've got video evidence of it happening in real time. But I can't show you. Oh, I can't. It's here. It's on my phone. I can't show you though. So it's the same thing, isn't it? Well, if you can't or are not going to show somebody, don't tell us you've got it then, because it just makes you look like an idiot.
It does, doesn't it? Because the first thing everybody thinks is you haven't got it. You know?
Exactly. You know, it's I don't know. It's just I love Barney. I'd marry him if I wasn't already married. He's one of my favorite people to make videos about because he is completely insane.
So how do we phrase this one to the chat? Is it a thumb up if they believe it works, or a thumb up if they believe it's been tested?
Thumb up if they believe it works.
Okay, thumb up. If we believe it works. Thumb down if we believe it doesn't work. Maybe a fist, or just say tested if we think it's been tested. Gleam says tested and works.
But the thing is with remote viewing, it's very much like a lot of other conspiracies. Not conspiracies. That was a bad word to use. You know, when something's you can't prove it right or wrong. It's unfalsifiable, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what this is. You know, if you were sat there and you were camera now and you were telling me that you can see what's going on downstairs in my house, and you could tell me that Mrs. Blinder is sat on the sofa watching, how would I be able to disprove that that's what you're seeing? If your description of what was going on downstairs was accurate.
Yeah. Well, let me give that a go, right? I'm sat in Blackburn, you're sat all the way in Wales. There's at least 100 and something miles separating us, right?
Yeah, at least 100.
I'm going to remote view,
and
I'm going to say, I think you are wearing a black T-shirt.
Yeah.
With a white hashtag and the letters FED has been the first 3 letters on. Am I right or wrong?
You are 100% right.
There we go.
That would have been far more impressive if you said if you said I had grey trousers on as well. But we should have prepared for this, shouldn't we? We could have made ourselves look incredibly stupid then. But that's what I mean. Brilliant. How can I disprove that? I can't, because it's unfalsifiable. I could be wrong. You know.
All you can do is test individuals, can't you? You can test individuals over and over. And I suppose if you test individuals and they all fail, and you never find one that does it, you still always got that chance. Will there be one out there? And I secretly like to think, and I'm wrong because I've never spoke to him and he never said this, but I secretly like to think that's what James Randi would have really liked. I think that he spent all his time debunking all these people and showing this stuff didn't work, in the vain hope that one day he might find someone that he couldn't debunk. And I think that's a nice story.
Yeah,
but it wasn't true.
The thing is, if any, like we are saying now that remote viewing, I'm saying it's not real. I don't care what anyone says, it's not real. It's impossible. Nobody can remote view something somewhere else, right? In their capacity as a human being. But if something happened and it was proven to be 100% true and people can't, I would quite happily say, well, I was a knob when I was wrong about it all that time. It actually is real. And people on that side of the argument seem incapable of doing that, apart from the odd ones, like, I don't know if he's still here, Seek Truth, Speak Truth, who used to be a flat earther and then ceased being a flat earther. And held his hands up and said, look, I got sucked in.
There's very few that will do that. You get your, I don't know. It just becomes almost like I think it tends to make you very closed-minded, doesn't it? And you don't want to listen to stuff. And if anything requires, even like an hour or two's understanding, just to really study something, understand it, you're not going to do it.
Yeah. But I'm not. Seems you know me better than I thought you did. It's just one of those things. It's difficult to publicly admit you were wrong about something, isn't it?
Yeah.
And nobody wants to have to do it. So
yeah, it's not fun.
yeah, so I don't know.
But what's the next one you're gonna stick up there for us, Creaky?
Bend over and I'll show you. There's only one left.
Is there? Have we done 7 already?
Yeah. Time flies when you're having fun. See, hang on a second now. Let me see if I can get it right on the last.
Oh, if it is the last one, I don't know much about this one. I don't know what to say about it. If
Right,
it is the last one.
hang on a sec. So here we go. So there we are. Rod Hull's brother is on the screen now. Major Ed Dames on remote viewing. You just imagine him with a little purple emu looking over his shoulder. You tell me that's not Rod Hull.
Oh, love it. God, I used to love that program when I was young.
Yeah. Right, what I forgot what I was doing now. Oh yeah. I'm changing.
It was the other,
I know.
Conspiracies.
I'm so easily distracted. Changing that to that. And there he is. Everybody's favourite kiddie fiddler.
Have we really done all the others?
Yeah, I think. Anyway, I'll double check. Are you doubting my technical abilities? How dare you?
Oh, there's one we haven't done, but we have done a show on it before. There's the second slide.
Oh, yeah. That's the one I was saving till the end.
Oh, right. Well, I thought, you mean this one then? You say one to then. Got you.
Yeah, that one.
So who's this guy?
Oh, hang on. There we are. Jeffrey Epstein.
Now, I mean, Gleam did say something before about, cameras, and if cameras are everywhere. I mean, I don't know what the expectation is in prison. I've no idea what the expectation is for someone on suicide watch. Are they filmed? Are they monitored 24/7? I've no idea.
Yeah.
I've read papers that tell me, not scientific papers, newspapers, that say he should have been monitored 24/7. Cameras were turned off for an hour and then he died. I mean,
Yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
no idea. But this is where I'm hoping the chat can.
Yeah. Now, the side chat are very preemptively saying murdered. We haven't even asked them yet, but they're already answering the question. So, yeah, I think it's quite clear to see which way this is. But this is, what I was saying earlier about conspiracies have lost their meaning. To me, this is a real conspiracy because it could be either or.
Yeah.
I've got my opinion on which is more likely to be, and I agree with the side chat. I think that he was disposed of. But this is a real conspiracy.
See, if he was murdered, then he's going to be murdered because the things he might have to say are going to incriminate other people, and obviously quite powerful people. So what is the story of who are those people supposed to be? I don't know, but I'm just, maybe the chat can enlighten us.
Yeah, the thing is, this unfortunately brings they and them into it, doesn't it? It's, it's the Illuminati, the powers that be, the super elites. I think we can be fairly sure it wasn't anything to do with the royal family, though, because he wasn't killed because his chauffeur was pissed.
No, yeah, they did it properly, didn't they?
Yeah, they did a proper job on this guy, but there's, at the risk of sounding like a conspiracy theorist, there were a lot of people who had a lot to lose if he had got to the point where he was able to tell his story, his version of events. What do you think?
To get away with what he was doing for the length of time he was doing it, and you have to have some sort of organized, close network of people. You've got to have a close group of people. Yeah, and obviously they're all rich. They've got a bit of money, etc. And if he's in a position where he could compromise them, and they've got a lot of money, then it is. Sure, it's possible. It's plausible. I'm saying it's absolutely plausible. I'm not saying I think, I know either way because I have done zero research into it. That is how much research
I've done a little bit, and I did do a Jeffrey Epstein video way back when it first happened, just because I'm a shameless whore and I was trying to jump on the search trend. But Seek Truth, Speak Truth has just made a good point in the side chat, Kat. Ghislaine Maxwell is still alive. Why would they have let her live? So
it's a good point.
This is what I mean, though, see, about this being a real conspiracy theory, because it literally could be either or, couldn't it?
It could. I mean, ultimately, conspiracy theories like this are criminal investigations, aren't they? Alleged crimes.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Are we alleging a crime has happened? And who is it? And it's perfectly possible a crime could have happened and could have been carried out without the need for any kind of weird supernatural forces or you know, misinformed science or anything like that. It's perfectly possible. Doesn't mean it has happened.
No.
But the Prince Andrew interview, I don't know if you saw that, was very telling.
I did, yeah. He was very uncomfortable. He didn't want to be answering the questions, did he? He was very, very uncomfortable.
Yeah, he was. I don't know why. I don't know. Did he feel he didn't do himself any favours? Obviously, the Queen didn't like it after he did it, and obviously gave him the boot from royal duties. But could he not see that was going to be a car crash from start to finish? Did he feel it's something he had to do, otherwise he'd never stop being pestered? Yeah,
I don't know. But the thing is, you know, with somebody like him, you know, did he think, well, I'm going to do it because I'm the Queen's son, so I'm above the law anyway? You know, they could pick. I don't know if this is accurate or not, but isn't it the case that the Queen has the authority to override any other authority in the world? So, for example, when Prince Philip had that car accident, if the police had come and arrested him, she could have just said, no, I'm the Queen. That's my husband. You're not arrested. I don't know if that's right or not, though.
I think on paper, at one time, obviously within the Commonwealth, she would have had technically, the monarch would have had the power to do that. But it'll be a dead law. It'll be like one of those that, you know, you can get arrested if you don't practice archery in that, you know, that small town in Swindon every Sunday. You know those old funny laws. I'm sure there's probably something like that exists. But to have her actually try that.
And the side chat is split between yes she has and no she hasn't. So again, I don't know. It's just something that I can't even remember where I heard it. I got a funny feeling it may have been from Johnny English.
Love those films. I mean, just the second one was dragging that rock around by his nuts, training his nuts. And then the callback to that, and he gets kicked in the nuts at the end of the film. It's a really good. We like classy, clever comedy.
Oh yeah,
in the UK.
Absolutely. Fart jokes and kicks in the ball bag all the day.
Yeah. If you've not seen it, it's actually better than I'm making it sound. It's a good film, isn't it?
It is brilliant. It's brilliant. But yeah, did he volunteer to do the interview because he thought, well, you know, I'm Prince Andrew. They're not going to do anything to me anyway. You know, Mammy won't let them. You know, was it that situation? I don't know.
Yeah, possibly confidence. You know, who knows?
But he squirmed.
The thing to me is, has anybody ever come out and attempted a proper explanation to say what went wrong with Epstein, like why he was allowed to be on his own? What was the issue? What was the problem? Why was he not monitored on that suicide watch? Why was he left on his own for that time? What's the excuse been?
Especially somebody that high profile, I'm sure it was something really stupid, like, oh, sorry, the guard fell asleep, or he had explosive diarrhea and he had to go to the toilet. It was something really silly. You know, there wasn't a suitable explanation. It's, you know, it was something really daft.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. I wish I'd have actually done some research into that now before the show. But anyway. What does the chat think? Should we say thumbs up for orchestrated murder, thumbs down for suicide? It's a grim topic, isn't it? That
it is, isn't it? It is. Yeah, thumbs up for murder, thumbs down for suicide.
Larry Lawton apparently did a good video, and I'll have to watch that. So I'm going to look into some of these after.
Larry Lawton, I've spoken to Larry Lawton. I tried to get him to come on Creaky Cast, and he just kept emailing me back and forth, and then suddenly stopped. He's a really, really high profile ex-mafia associate.
Wow.
And I started watching his videos, and I just found it, and I just shot him an email, and he replied straight away, yeah, I'll come on. And but while I was emailing him, his channel was growing at an incredible rate. Now, when I emailed him, he had like 9,000 subscribers, and I think I was on like 20,000. So I was like double the size of him. But throughout the few weeks we were emailing back and forth, his channel grew from like 9,000 to like 150,000, and then he suddenly didn't want to come on anymore.
Yeah.
But what a really interesting guy. Definitely have a look at his channel as well. Really, really interesting guy.
Cool. Right. What are all the thumbs doing? I can't remember what I said was thumbs up, thumbs down.
Thumbs
We've got
up
a
was
good old mix,
murder.
whatever it is.
Yeah,
We've got
thumbs
a
up
real
was
good
murder,
mix there
thumbs
with that
down
one.
was suicide, yeah, and I'd say murder wins it. I never thought I'd be saying that on a live stream. Yeah.
Wow.
It's a bit of a mixed bag.
Definitely a mixed bag there. So
Should we have a quick look at this last one? We may as well, isn't it?
yeah. Gleam saying definitely only real conspiracy tonight. Or definitely the only real conspiracy tonight. Well, you might agree with this next one.
Oh, what have I done now?
Because we had Dead Kennedy in space on to give a presentation about this, and it wasn't until the stream started it occurred to me that people might think he was taking the piss with his name, but like he really wasn't. That is his, that was his YouTube name, Dead Kennedy Space. It had nothing to do with this. It's just his last name was Kennedy.
There we are. So the JFK, depending on what you think, assassination or multiple shooter assassination. This is the one. My knowledge on this is limited to what Dead Kennedy in Space spoke about and things I've seen on the television. And again, I would consider this to be a very real conspiracy theory because it could be either or.
I mean, my bulk of my education on this come from the JFK film, which I know has been. Even Dead Kennedy himself, when he was on, said that it was very. How can I put it? Elaborate. Lots of things were elaborated on, in that film that weren't quite right. But it did make a very strong case that he didn't work alone, and he had these connections with local people who really hated communism, who saw JFK as a communist sympathizer, and I don't know the motive. I'm not saying that I'm saying it was an inside job, but there was certainly motive from the people involved, weren't there?
Yeah.
Or the person involved.
Yeah. It's I don't know, but when we had Dead Kennedy on and he was explaining, is it only Dead Kennedy that's ever discussed this on here?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to have a debate on it.
And he was,
I wouldn't.
Talking about sort of the mechanism of what would have needed to have, happened for there to be a lone shooter versus multiple shooters, and it's just a very interesting thing to look at, because again, it could be either.
I pulled up a website just before we started, 10 unanswered questions about 10 still unanswered questions about it. Let's just have a look. First one, they talk about the magic bullet. How can it go through, how can it appear to have taken the route it did? But there was a documentary on Channel 5, which Dead Kennedy himself mentioned when he was on, and I did look it up afterwards. And it did show, use CGI animation and modeling physics software to show how the bullet could take that route if it was fired when the guy behind him or whoever was taking a certain pose. I can't remember what it was, but it did show that it was plausible.
Yeah.
Not probable, but plausible.
Yeah.
What was the other one? And apparently in the months leading up to the assassination, Lee Harvey Oswald was impersonated several times in meetings with KGB and the CIA. It wasn't him, but somebody was down at the meeting as being Lee Harvey Oswald impersonating him.
Really?
Apparently. Now, that's only according to that website. It might be all total, nonsense, but it's interesting.
Bacon Earth says he's seen bullets do strange things while deer stalking.
I wonder if a bullet's not I mean, I don't know anything about it, but if it's not perfectly filed, perfectly symmetrical, will it have some weird kind of aerodynamic effect going on?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things, see, that, you know, the number of people who've looked into it, I would imagine, you know, they would have had experts in various fields looking into various elements of what did or didn't happen, surely. So wouldn't that sort of thing have been sort of explored, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
God. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that one. My gut, and only my gut, tells me that we don't know anything approaching the full story. And the fact that the classified papers still haven't been released, even though we're now at the time where they could be.
Well, why should we let that stop us? It doesn't stop flat earthers. We can just make up the bits we don't know for sure. Emil Rabeck has said in the side chat, do you believe it's okay to hide information from the public if some information would just scare or start something bigger? Would it be okay if it was for the sake of the public?
It's a good question, isn't it?
Yeah, that is a good question.
I think you've got to ask yourself the question. You know, it's almost like risk versus reward, isn't it? You know, if you're going to drop some information out there, like if an asteroid was going to hit tonight and kill everybody, or an asteroid was going to hit in 2 years' time and kill everybody, would you tell everybody now? So for the next 2 years, people can be, you know, murdered, beaten, and whatnot. You probably wouldn't. You'd probably leave it until the week before.
Would you want to know?
I don't think I would.
No, me.
Because there'd be no
I wouldn't want to know.
You still have to live, so you still have to earn money, but I can't be arsed working.
Yeah, exactly. You know, if that scenario was to be a real scenario, I would sooner not know. Yeah. Just, you know, because when it hits, it's going to be good night Irene, isn't it? You know, it's... I wouldn't want, you know, to see Boris come on the news. COVID's gone. Go me. By the way, there's an asteroid going to hit the Earth in 2022 on January the 12th. So enjoy the last couple of years of your life. Because you wouldn't.
Yeah, you won't enjoy it at all. No, you won't. It's like when you've got a really busy week at work, you don't enjoy your Sunday night because you're just thinking, oh shit, I get up in the morning, that's it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
That's why I'm a grumpy git, and I don't often do agree to do streams on a Sunday night because like I'm just really grumpy. I'm working non-stop all week. I don't want to talk.
Yeah, I know what I mean. Seek Truth, Speak Truth says, why? What I can't make out is why they would kill somebody in such a public setting, leaving it so open with so many witnesses. Again, you know, that's a good point, isn't it? If they were going to assassinate them, whether it was, you know, one or multiple shooters, you know, wouldn't either the one shooter or the multiple shooter have been able to find a better location rather than in the middle of a parade with thousands of people there?
Absolutely. You know, I don't know. I mean, I doubt that whoever did pull the trigger will have been an operating like CIA office. You know, they'll have coerced. If they did it that way, they will have coerced non-professionals and street people to do it, and that might have been the best, most clumsy way of doing it. It's a case of let's get it done, and then we've got someone to pin the blame on. We've got this guy Harvey Oswald to pin the blame on. But then it doesn't look like our style, doesn't look like us. So.
Yeah, just one of the mysteries, one of the mysteries of the world. And I think some things that, like we'll say the JFK incident, maybe it'll never be completely clear what happened.
What annoys me about that though is. It is frustrating, is that we can now, enough time has passed for it to be legal for them to release those documents to us.
Sorry, Catz, to interrupt you. Caller the Void, who's clearly a massive dong, is saying that Rona is a joke. Good luck, salty boy. I'm out.
What's Rona?
Rona. Coronavirus. It's what the cool kids call COVID-19, Catz. Oh. Come on. Well, if you are one of the complete imbeciles who thinks that the coronavirus is fake, don't let the door hit you in the arse on the way out. And I'll help you by hiding you from the channel. So best of luck and kiss my ass.
It's a shame that. I think, like, I don't understand how.
I don't get the mentality, if I'm being honest with you. I really, really don't. I know there's certain things that, you know, we could say that, you know, the government don't tell us, whether it's for the right reasons or the wrong reasons, you know, who am I to say? But how anybody can be stupid enough to say that this is fake completely baffles me. Really, really does. Really, really does. I bet my mother's neighbours are gutted it's fake because they both in Morriston Cemetery now, buried together because it was fake.
It's horrendous. I mean, where I work, the environments I work in, because I work in schools, but I am kind of fixed in the same schools throughout the week. I'm probably acquainted with more people than most, right? You know, because a school is a community of at least 800 people. You know, I work in a couple of them, so I probably my working week, I'm sort of acquainted with a few thousand people. But I know this is going to sound quite high, but, you know, I'm looking at like 40, 50 people that I know or have heard about, you know, this kid in this class has had it or so and so. And that's just in my work life. In my personal life, 6 or 7 people I know have had it.
Yeah.
You know, some quite close family as well.
Yeah. Well, we know people that have had it now, like I said earlier, you know, customers from the shop, you know, people that we know, you know, nobody in my family's had it yet, thankfully. And I hope they don't. But
in 12 months' time, we'll be in a position where everybody it will just be normal. It will spread that much. Everybody will know lots of people who've had it, you know, just like I had a cold. Have you had a cold? Yeah.
Well, there we are. We've got a lady doctor that comes into the shop, and I was speaking to her months ago. This was just after we reopened after the first lockdown, and she said this will literally never go. This now is going to be as commonplace as I bump into you in the town and say, oh, I haven't seen you for ages. Oh, yeah, I've been shit the last couple of years. I've had a nasty dose of the flu. In 10 years' time, I'll bump into you and you will have had a nasty case of the lager lurgy, because she wasn't saying it's the new flu, but it will be that commonplace, you know, like the flu is now, like getting a cold is, you know. So, it's just baffling.
You're right. It's there to stay now. Yeah, but that's where the vaccine comes into play. Same with the flu. You know, if people say, "Oh, it's just like the flu," but what they don't think is, you know, we've got a mass vaccination program for the flu every single year, and if people weren't taking it up, how many people would die from the flu every single year? And COVID spreads more. It spreads faster than the flu.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, the thing I know my parents have both been having the flu vaccine for years, and my mother very insultingly said to me and Mrs. Blinder a few months ago that we should, you know, we get it because, you know, we're both, you know, just a couple of years away from turning 50. So she said, you know, maybe you should think about, you know, starting to have the flu vaccine. And, you know, is she right? I don't know, you know, is 50, you know, it's 2 years off yet. I've only just turned 48. But, you know, like you say, if my parents weren't having their flu jab every year, would they still be here now? Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. You know, my dad's got COPD, emphysema, you know, so they're constantly living in fear that my dad is being so careful with this virus. He's exempt from wearing a mask, but he still wears a mask. He said, I don't care that I haven't got to wear one. I'm not taking any bloody chances. Because it doesn't, despite what these people think, it doesn't, like, it's uncomfortable and it's not nice and you do breathe differently, but it most certainly doesn't stop you from breathing, doesn't affect the level of oxygen you can intake. If it did, my dad would collapse every time he had to wear a mask because he can barely breathe when he's like this, you know. So
that's what annoys me with these people who say, oh, wearing masks actually does more harm than good. We shouldn't be doing them because it deprives kids of oxygen. It does this, that, and the other. You know, and these numbnuts who are saying stuff like that, where were they before the coronavirus saying, that welders shouldn't be wearing masks because it's going to deprive them of oxygen.
Exactly.
All the professions, people who work in factories on shop floors or have to wear masks who work in factories that work with electrical components so they're not coughing stuff out of the components. Where were they campaigning for the safety of all the people who've got to wear masks all day, every day because of the lack of oxygen going to the brain or whatever? They're nowhere to be seen because it's complete and utter bollocks. Yeah, exactly. And the minute that they are asked to do something that they don't want to do to help somebody else, they're going to whinge like a tart about it.
Yeah, exactly. The thing is, if it was the case that masks restrict your ability to breathe, why isn't it a regular occurrence that we see on the news that a top London heart surgeon has collapsed during an 18-hour heart surgery? Because it's a load of old shit and it doesn't affect how you breathe at all. It's not the most comfortable thing. It's claustrophobic. It's annoying. I'm constantly crashing into things because my glasses steam up and I don't pay that much attention to what I'm doing. But it's certainly not going to kill me or make me collapse from lack of oxygen. And if I do feel like, oh God, you just go outside. Oh yeah, fine now. Just, you know what I mean? It's an inconvenience. That's all it is.
For however long you're in a shop for, I don't know people who are in a shop for hours and hours and hours. However long you're in a shop for, fine. Even at the schools with the kids, once they're in the classrooms, they're all set out, social distancing, masks come off. Yeah, they're all set. Then great. It's when you've got that really close contact. But anyway, we've
it's one of those topics in it that it's like anything else that's high profile. It's got a certain element of conspiracy attached to it by the conspiracy theorists, but I think it's a topic that we could literally have talked about this for the entire live stream. Yeah. Because it's one of those things that is so close to all our hearts. Some of us have been directly affected by it. We know people that have been affected by it. And then we've got absolute, I don't want to use an impolite word, people like Call of the Void saying that it's what sort of dickhead says it's fake? That's like saying the sky is fake. It just drives me nuts.
It's really disappointing to hear that, I'll be honest. Are we talking about the virus itself being fake or the extent to which it's spreading or whatever,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah. Well, the way I read that before I banned him from the channel, and he said the Rona is fake, implying that he thinks the virus is fake. And I can't understand.
So much. It's been isolated, it's been sequenced. Or not we, but the scientists could tell you every single base, the order of the nucleotide sequences on its genetic material. How can that be fake? Unless some of the doctors are now somehow part of the conspiracy that we're going to chuck in with NASA and the flat Earth.
Yeah. Global Chris is saying that he didn't say it was fake. He said it was a joke. Oops.
Well, on that note, I still have some work to do for tomorrow, so I'm going to. It's 9 o'clock. We'll see.
I'm missing Ant and Dec. Bye, everyone. Thanks for watching. See you next week. Bye. I enjoy the streams when they go this way because I've always got a lot to say about a lot of things, so I could talk a glass eye to sleep under 3 foot of wet cement.
It's been fun. I've enjoyed it. It's been a little bit fun. It's good to hear what the chap thought about stuff. Gleam, see you later. Nice for you to be a mate. And don't forget to just spam the name of your song a few more times in the chat, buddy. And I definitely endorse it. It was a good track.
What was it? I've forgotten already. See, I got the worst I've got a worse memory than a goldfish with senile dementia.
Oh, yeah, so am I. I can hear the tune. It was. It will put it in a second.
Yeah.
So adjust your brightness. Of course, there we go. Adjust your brightness. So Spotify, iTunes, I believe. But it's good.
Adjust your brightness. Didn't even have to spell check it. Nailed it. Just quickly before we go. Ooh, super chat. Thank you. $2.99 super sticker from Jezza, the Master Reviewer. Thank you, sir. And unless you've got anything else to say, Mr. Conspiracy Cats, I think we shall call it.
Okie dokie. I will go and have a poo.
Bye.